Hey, look at me. I'm back on the trail. And surprisingly enough, I look exactly the same as when I left the trail last time. Why? Because only 5 seconds has gone by. But this is a new video. So let's get on the trail and start hiking. So this is the very end of my 3rd day on the trail. I'll have 5 more to go after this. Looks like I got another 27 miles to go. So I'm going to try and knock that down to 26 so that, I can be there in time at Monarch Pass when the big white pickup truck comes to pick me up. This creek seems like a weird little break from the treeless high country I've been in for the last 3 days. After all, I was way the heck up there, and in not too much time, we'll return to those heights sometime tomorrow. But tonight's mission is just to get some of this altitude out of the way so I don't have to tackle it all tomorrow. Welcome to the first full day on Collegiate West, Section 4. And, this morning's thought is, because I'm hiking 5-6 miles every day, is that I think when you run into people and you tell them you're backing off because you're getting older, they go like, you're giving up. Have a more positive attitude. I know this one guy who's 80 who bench presses 3 semi-trucks. And the thing is, they got it all wrong. You're not giving up. You're acknowledging your new reality. And here's the thing is, I'm here this morning because I've acknowledged my new reality, which is that I'm going to hike 5-6 miles a day. And that's going to be it. And if I sat there and tried to beat this dilapidated body into hiking 15-20 mile days, all I'd do is get injured. So if you're getting older and you're getting mopey about not doing the things that you used to be able to do, I gotta say there's a lot of hope. There's hope in just embracing your new reality, dialing down the intensity, and you'll find that you can still be in places like this. Okay, here we are at rest break number 2 for the day. And I want to talk about my personal mile seems to be 0.7 miles. Because every time I go like, I am sure I have hiked a mile, when I check, it's 0.7. But in my defense, take a look at this. Okay, let's do some zooming in. Zoom in. Zoom in. See that? See this point? You can see the trail right in the middle of the screen. There, my finger was in front of it for a second. How far away do you think that is? It's about 0.6 of a mile. Doesn't that look like it should be more than a mile? Okay. Maybe it's just me. There we are. We have crested the top of the pass. Unlike the last 3 days, where I had 4 high passes to get over, these next 3 days, there'll only be 2. And thankfully, they're not quite so high, the highest one being 12,800. All these are more like 12,300. 12.4. So I should have a long downhill coming up next. Look at the view. When I meant look at the view, I meant look at this view. Wow, the beetle kill is really bad in this area. Look at that forest. Practically everything, every single one of those trees is dead. Check this out. After hiking over 12,000 foot passes so far, I'm now on this section of trail, which follows an old railroad grade that is flat as a pancake. I've been hiking for 4 days in the boonies, and what do I come across but an informational sign? Yay. Okay, I guess there was a snow train up here. Let's look at it. It's got this great big crazy plow thing on the front of it. Goodbye, flat trail. It was great while it lasted. And up we go. Well, that's it for day 4, which means I'm, after all this hiking, at the halfway point. So I got to do what I've done again. Luckily, there's only 2 more passes I have to climb rather than the 5 that I've climbed already. Welcome to day 5 of this trip. And after spending the last 4 days above tree line in the austere, rocky, marmot-strewn landscape of the high country, to be down here walking through forest of wildflowers is really quite the change. By the way, if you are hiking the Collegiate West segment 4 and using the app Far Out, they tell you in this section there is no water for 4.5 miles. This is the 5th stream in the middle of this section. And that doesn't include what 3 other drizzly things that you could desperately get water out, and about 8 different seasonal streams that have already dried up. I'm getting the impression that the guys at Far Out did the Collegiate West as kind of an afterthought. I mean, none of the elevation profiles work. The advice on water is really spotty and off. So just beware. There's Hancock Lake, and in that shadow, going over that saddle, is the second to the last pass of this trip for me. Okay, I've gotten used to really good trails, but now we're back to nasty stuff. Obviously, the trail builder could have continued in that direction and kept the slope, but I think he just got bored in this last bit. Even though there's a sign at the bottom that says, "Don't cut switchbacks." Well, what difference does it make if you have the trail going absolutely straight up the hill? At this point, after getting way up here, the trail will take me all the way back down to 10,000 feet, so I can climb all the way back to 12.5. Hopefully not all on the last day. Welcome to day 6 of the trip. And I remember the last time I was out on the trail, I did a 5-day section. And knowing that this 8-day section was coming up, at the end of that trip I said, feeling the way I do today, could I do another 3 days? Well, I'm about to do another 3 days after 5 days, which makes 8 days altogether. See, that's math. So, I guess we're gonna find out. This must be a hell of an avalanche chute coming down through here. Down, down, down we go. I'm gonna get all the way down to 10.4 before returning all the way to 12.5. Did you miss out on the fun? Been raining for the last hour. There's thunder and lightning all over the place. I completed, while it was raining, Collegiate West number 4. I've now started Collegiate West number 5, the last of the Collegiate West alternative. And I've got to climb all the way up to 12,500 tomorrow. I've done about about 500 feet of that so far. I'm going to knock off a little bit, hopefully have it close to 1,000 for tomorrow. Holy criminy, I almost have a beard at this point. Anyway, I put on my 1,000 feet of this 2,000 foot climb. Tomorrow I'm going to do the rest of it, which is 1,000 feet in 1.4 miles. So that's pretty darn steep. In the meanwhile, I'm going to get unconscious and see if there are any life left in my body when I wake up in the morning. It's day 7, and this will be the longest I've ever been on the trail. Up to this point, it's been 6 days. It's been my longest section that I've ever done. There down below is the lake that I camped next to. I got my first mile in, and let me show you the last pass I have to go over is kind of that saddle right there in the middle of the frame. The problem is we got some pretty good cloud development. We had really bad thunderstorms yesterday around noon. So I need to get up into the high country and back down at least a little bit, probably a couple hours, which is kind of fast for me. And here we are. We have completed the last gigantic climb of the hike. There's looking back towards Salida down there, actually. And this way is, I don't know, the middle of frickin' nowhere. You can probably see these guys ahead of me of the trail. The actual high point is another mile along. I did not feel like I was going to make it halfway up that climb. As much as I'd like to recuperate, clouds are building. Okay, here's what I do to climb the steep stuff. I'm going to literally go this slow. I call it playing the pump organ. If you don't know what a pump organ is, I'm not responsible for whatever images just popped into your mind. But it's just like these teeny, weeny, little pedaling steps like this. Here's an area of note on this hillside, and you probably can't see it because I'm sitting here and I can't really see them. But they built stone walls and they drive game into them, and there'd be these ambush areas where they'd leap out and spear everything. And anyway, like I said, I read this sign over here about it, and it looks kind of interesting, but it's hard to make out at this point. Well, change of plans. It means at this point I only have 2.2 miles to go. The big white pickup truck is headed up here to head me off at the pass. I told them it would take me 3 hours to do the last 3.5 miles. I did not know that the trail builder was going to send me way the heck up to the top of that stupid thing. So that super slowed me down. 500-foot unnecessary climb, but hopefully there'll be no FUs from the trail builders from here on out, and I can do the last 2.2 slowly descending. And you hear the thunder. It's been going on for the last couple of days, so anywho, have to rest because no point of wrecking myself in the last little bit here. Well, this is it. the very last mile of 43, the longest I've ever been on the trail. I was going to spend 8 days on the trail. It turned out to be 7 because I got ahead a little bit. There were 7 passes over 12,000 feet. The highest one, 12,800. I've been absolutely bushwhacked. I've seen the most amazing things ever. And if it starts raining again, this will be the final segment of the video because I can't get my camera out. And it's been amazing. One short thing about attitude. People are always talking about positive attitude if you want to do something, blah, 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 blah. In this trip, my attitude has been, this is the most amazing thing ever. And I have been so crushed by exhaustion at other times that my attitude sucked. But you know what the important part? Here, I'm going to show you right now. See these little things? If these keep moving, you can have any attitude you like. Bad attitude, great attitude, whatever. But this is what makes you hike. So if your life is kind of crappy or a bunch of things hurt or things aren't going well, if you think you got to get all jolly before you do anything, I got good news for you. You can take your bad attitude out on the trail and have a great experience. So anyway, the big white pickup truck. Let's see if we can find it. And it did start raining. Cold, blowing, sideways rain. But I did make it to Monarch Pass. And then after a bit of confusion, because 1 out of 3 cars in Colorado is a big white pickup truck. Well, I did eventually find the correct one and then head home. So next video, you'll find me at Monarch Pass, heading south towards Durango.